They chained his leg, but not his mind. A boy, enslaved in the house of a cruel man in ancient Rome. He owned nothing, not his time, not his body, not even the next breath he was allowed to take. If life could happen to anyone, it happened to him. And yet, 2,000 years later, emperors would quote him. Generals would carry his words into battle. Millions would find freedom in the mind of a man who was legally property. How does a slave become the freest man in Rome? Hold on to that question, because the answer is a 3-step code. And once you see it, you cannot unsee how much of your life you have been handing away for free. His name was Epictetus, and his master, a man named Epaphroditus, once did something that should have broken him forever. There is an old story passed down through his students, and it is brutal. The master, in a fit of cruelty, began to twist the young man's leg, slowly, deliberately, and Epictetus, calm as still water, simply looked up and said, "If you keep twisting, you will break it." The master kept twisting. The bone snapped, and Epictetus, without a flicker of panic, said only, "There, I told you it would break. Now stop." Feel how strange that is. A normal man screams, begs, curses, but this one observed his own broken leg the way you might comment on the weather. Was he insane? Was he numb? No. He had discovered something so simple that most people go their entire lives without ever touching it. He had found the one door in the human mind that no chain, no master, and no disaster can ever force open. He had found the line between what the world can do to you and what you do with it. On one side of that line sits everything you do not control: your body, your reputation, other people, the past, the economy, the weather, whether the message gets answered, whether the job comes through. On the other side of that line sits almost nothing, just one small, fierce, indestructible thing. And Epictetus staked his entire life on it. But here is what almost no one realizes. Naming the line is easy. Living on the right side of it, that is where nearly everyone fails. And Epictetus was about to be tested in a way that makes a broken leg look like mercy, because freedom was coming, and freedom would be the hardest test of all. Eventually, Epictetus was freed. The chains came off. He walked out of that house a free man in the eyes of Rome. And you would think that is the happy ending. The slave becomes free, the story closes, the music swells. But watch what happens next, because this is where it gets strange. Most freed slaves chased the exact things they had been denied: money, status, comfort, revenge sometimes. They spent the rest of their lives trying to fill the hole that slavery had carved into them. And they stayed enslaved, just to different masters now, to money, to the opinions of powerful men, to their own fear of falling back down. Epictetus did the opposite. He looked at all of it, the wealth he could have chased, the status he could have bought, and he saw the truth that his years in chains had burned into him. All of that lived on the wrong side of the line. All of it could be given, and all of it could be taken. And anything that can be taken from you was never truly yours to begin with. It was only ever on loan. So he built his whole life on the one thing that could not be taken. And then he did something almost unthinkable. He started teaching it to the sons of the very class that had once owned him. Now pause, because this is the moment I need you to feel in your own chest. You have a master too. You may not call it that, but think about the last time your whole day was ruined by something you could not control. A single cold reply to a text, a number on a screen that went down instead of up, a comment from someone whose opinion you swear you do not care about, and yet you replayed it 11 times before you fell asleep. Think about the morning you did not want to get up, not because you were tired, but because the day felt like something being done to you, an event you had no say in. That is a master twisting your leg, and most of us just scream. Epictetus would ask you one question and it would cut straight through. Not, "Oh, why is this happening to me?" but, "Which side of the line is this on?" Because the moment you can answer that, everything changes. And the moment you cannot, you are owned. But knowing the line exists is still not enough. You can nod along right now, agree completely, and lose yourself again the second something goes wrong tomorrow morning. So how did a broken slave train himself to actually live there, in the calm, no matter what the world threw at him? That is the 3-step code. And here is where we finally open it. Step 1. Divide everything. In every single moment, before you react, you split the world into two piles. Is it up to me or not up to me? Your effort is up to you. The outcome is not. Your words are up to you. How they land is not. Your character is up to you. Your reputation lives in other people's heads, so it is not. Epictetus said, "We suffer for one reason above all others. We have these two piles violently confused. We pour our energy into the pile we cannot control, and we neglect the only pile we can. We try to control the outcome and ignore the effort. We try to manage what people think and abandon who we actually are." Step 2. This is the one that stings. Take radical ownership of your reaction and stop blaming the event. Epictetus said something that lands like a slap 2,000 years later. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of things. Read that again. It is not the traffic that enrages you. It is your judgment that the traffic should not exist. It is not the insult that wounds you. It is your agreement with the insult. The event is neutral. It is raw material. You are the one who stamps it good or catastrophe, which means, and this is the terrifying, liberating part, you were never reacting to the world. You were reacting to your own story about the world. And that story, that lives on the right side of the line. That is yours. And here is the strange part. Modern science circled all the way back and proved him right. There is an entire branch of psychology today, cognitive behavioral therapy, used to treat anxiety, depression, trauma in millions of people. And at its absolute core sits one idea, that it is not the event that determines how you feel. It is the thought, the interpretation, the belief you place between the event and your response. The founders of it openly credited the Stoics. A man in chains with no laboratory and no data mapped the human mind so accurately that clinicians would rebuild his insight 19 centuries later and hand it out as medicine. He knew something they would have to rediscover. Between what happens to you and how you respond, there is a space, a gap, tiny, almost invisible. And in that gap sits your entire freedom. Most people live with zero space. Event, reaction, insult, rage, fear, retreat, instant, automatic. They are a machine that the world operates by pressing buttons. Epictetus spent his life widening that gap until a man could break his leg and he could stand inside that space and simply choose. So, let us go back to that burning question from the very beginning. How does a slave become the freest man in Rome? Here it is. He realized that freedom was never about the chains on his leg. It was about the space in his mind. The master owned his body, the entire left side of the line. But the right side, that small, fierce territory of his own judgments, his own reactions, his own will, no one could enter it without his permission, and he simply stopped giving that permission away. That is step 3. Live it daily until it becomes who you are, because a truth you only believe is worthless. A truth you practice becomes armor. So here's what you do tonight. It is small, it is brutal, it works. Tonight, take the one thing eating at you right now. You already know what it is. It is the thing your mind keeps circling back to. And run the code. Say it out loud if you have to. Step 1, divide it. What here is actually up to me and what is not. Draw the line hard. Step 2, the part that is not up to you, release it completely tonight. Not because you are weak, but because gripping it was never anything but self-torture. Step 3, the part that is up to you. Your next action, your effort, your attitude tomorrow morning. Pour everything into that. All of it. Do this for 1 week. Watch what happens to the weight you have been carrying, because most of that weight was never yours. You picked it up off the wrong side of the line, and you have been calling it life. Here is the gut punch. The world can take everything from you except one thing, the power to choose your response to the world, and most people never once used the only freedom they were guaranteed. Epictetus used it in chains. You are watching this, most likely free, so the only real question left is the one he would ask you now. What is your excuse? If this reached something in you, stay a while. Subscribe and keep walking this path, because owning your mind is not one video, it is a life, and this is only the first step.